But before I get to the halachas of Purim, I think there's some halachas that we have to learn from beforehand, and let's go through them. First of all, this coming Shabbos, we learn in the Torah, we read in the Torah, besides the regular weekly portion, we're going to read what's called Parshas Zohar. Parshas Zohar is the parsha, the portion of the Torah that talks about remembering what Amalek did to us. What the nation Amalek started up with us when we left Egypt. So that portion we lay in this week. Now, the important thing to know about this is that this is the only biblically commanded Torah reading of the year. Every other Torah reading of all year long is a rabbinical obligation. It's not in the Torah. It doesn't say you have to read from the Torah, but of course we have to do it. But there are a lot of times leniencies and things like that. This one is a biblical obligation that the pasuk itself says you must remember what Amalek did to you. Do not forget. In fact, we read those words, and you have to listen to every single word. And you have to have in mind that you're doing the commandment, the mitzvah of remembering to erase Amalek, eradicate them, any memory of them. You have to erase Amalek from the world. The halacha is that you have to have in mind to be yotzei. In other words, you have to listen to every word, and it's as if I'm saying it. That's the way it works in halacha. You have to listen to every word of the laning and of the bracha before and afterwards. So most shuls will make sure it's purely 100% quiet, not a sound, and everyone listens to every single word. And it's basically the most important Torah reading of all year long, and it's important to make it there on time and to listen to every word. There is a dispute amongst the halachic authorities whether women are obligated in this commandment. This commandment, in fact, there's two commandments of the 613 commandments that we have. Remember what Amalek did to us, and don't forget. A negative commandment. And so the chinuch, one of the counters, one of the great, there are many authors that count all the mitzvos. So he was one of them. And he says that women are not obligated because being that it's a prerequisite to the wiping out of Amalek itself, which is a mitzvah, going to war and wiping them out, and women are really not commanded in going out to war, so they would not be obligated. There are those that disagree and say that who says it's a prerequisite to that? In fact, the Minchas Chinuch disagrees with the Chinuch and says that when Mashiach comes and there won't be any Amaleki left in the world, there'll still be the mitzvah. Who says it's got one to do with the other? So there's a dispute about it. Basically, it ends up being a dispute. So the halacha, as I have received it from my rabbis, is that if it's a woman who has no problem getting out of the house and being able to get to shul to hear it, it's quite important, and she should. She's a girl who's not married yet, or if she doesn't have children that she has to figure out how to get out of the house, then she in fact should try her best to get out there. If it's a situation where it's too hard, there are definitely those that are lenient that she does not have to. There is also, you'll notice that the last pasuk, when they lane this reading, is laned twice. It's good to be ready for that. It starts v'haya, v'aniach, and it's the third or fourth of those psukim, and it's said twice. The reason why it's said twice is because there's one word there that we're not exactly clear how to read it. It says timcha es zecher Amalek. You should erase erase any zecher, any remembrance, any memory of Amalek, and so some say you have to read it zecher, and some say you have to read it zecher. And so therefore, in some shuls they'll read over the entire pasuk, and some shuls they'll just read over those couple of words. But that's basically what they'll be doing, and it's good to be ready for it. There is an opinion that says that if somebody couldn't make it to shul, so they should come to shul Purim morning, and on Purim morning we have also a reading of the Torah before the Megillah. We have a reading of the Torah on not the parish. This is a parish in Parashas Kisei, which is at the end of the Torah, at the end of Sefer Dvarim. There is also one at the end of Bishalach, where Yeshua goes out and he has his fight with Amalek. There is an opinion that says you could do the mitzvah by listening to that Kriyas HaTorah. The Chafetz Chaim and his Mishnah Berurah says he disagrees with that, because if you look closely at the reading of the portion in the one that we read this coming Shabbos, it says over there, the commandment, Machoy Timcha Ezecha Amalek, you should wipe out Amalek. In the one on Purim, it says, Ki Machoy Emche Ezecha Amalek, I will wipe out. God saying that He will do away with Amalek, and it never says that it doesn't give you any obligation that you've got to do away with Amalek, and therefore he disagrees with the possibility of being Yotzei, of doing the mitzvah. If someone can, the best thing is, of course, to come on Shabbos. If one can't, then you can have in mind at the reading of the Torah on Purim morning to do that mitzvah. Okay. Now let's move on. Let's go chronologically over here. Monday is a fast day. Monday is a fast day known as Tanis Esther. The truth is, the sources of this fast day is very unclear. Whereas the other 4 fast days of the year, based on the destruction of the temple, we have a pasuk about. Yom Kippur, of course, is a biblical obligation. The fast of Tanis Esther is not clear when it started. It's not even clear what it's based on, because Esther's fast, the 3-day fast, was not at all at this time of year. It was Pesach time. It was, in fact, it says Vayavor Mordechai, that Mordechai, so to speak, transgressed the mitzvah of eating on Yom Tov and had everyone fast. So the first day of Pesach, everyone fasted, even though you're not supposed to be fasting. So it was not even this time of year. So the poskim tell us that it's based on the fact that we know there was a war that day, and because Yud Gimel, the day of the 13th, was the real day of where they had to defend themselves, and on the day that they had war, they usually fasted. So that's basically what it's based on. But being that its obligation is not as stringent as the other fasts, we are a little bit more easygoing. Of course, one can ask a shaila, but if someone is weak in any way or someone not feeling well, we are much quicker to have someone eat on that day as opposed to the other fasts. Later on in the day, before Mincha, we have the mitzvah called Machzis HaShekel, the giving of the half of a shekel. Now, interestingly, it in certain ways has nothing to do with Purim. It just happens to be the same day, of course, with nothing that happens to be. But it's just tell you a little background to what this is, to what's going on. You go to shul and you see them doing it, just to give you a little idea of what this thing is. There is a Torah commandment that, well, it starts from the beginning. There are many sacrifices that were brought in the Beis Hamikdash, in the temple, it was a communal obligation. Everybody's got to chip in to buy and bring those. There's one in the morning called the Tamid, one in the morning, one at night, and on Shabbos and on Yom Tov, all kinds of things that are communal obligations. And money was collected from the entire community for it every year, known as Trumas Halishka. Now, the Torah tells us, the Gemara takes it out of the pasuk, that you have to start from new monies every Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Rosh Chodesh Nisan, you got to make a new collection, and the new money of the new year has to be used. That's what the Torah says. The old money that's left over has to be used for other things. There was more than enough things to use it for, but you have to start with a new pushka, new money when it comes to Rosh Chodesh Nisan. So what happened in the days of the Beis Hamikdash was that on Rosh Chodesh Adar, they used to, have announcements, maybe posted. I don't know exactly how they announced it, but they publicized that everybody's got to bring your half a shekel. Everyone brought a half a shekel, and then on the 15th of Adar, they would sit down and they would start collecting. That was way before Purim even came around. The Gemara tells us that it's not just coincidental, because it says in the Megillah that Haman weighed all the shkolim that he gave to Achashverosh in order to get his plan of genocide going. And the Gemara tells us that Hashem says, don't worry, the Jews' shkolim have come before your shkolim, and therefore it won't do anything. So it's not just coincidental, it happens to be exactly that day. But in remembrance of that giving of a half a shekel coin, we also today give a half a shekel coin. Of course, we don't have a Beis Hamikdash, and we don't have karbanos, we don't have sacrifices, but we give it anyway. And in remembrance, this is a halacha that was given to generations. In fact, Parashat Shkolim that we read in the Torah 2 weeks ago was based on the announcement, and now we give a half a shekel based on the fact that they used to collect it. Now, a half a shekel, we don't even know exactly what it is today. Maybe we do. Some people say they have an idea. But the minhag has come to be, the custom has come to be, to give a half of the local coin, half of the local dollar or local whatever it is. The poskim say it should be $3.50, because it says 3 times in the Torah Truma that there were 3 collections, and that the half dollar coin or half whatever it is coin should be silver. And until recently, almost all coins were in fact silver. So the best thing is to give 3 half coins that are used locally that are silver. Basically, in our, here in North America, what it's come to mean is, in the States for sure, but even here in Canada, somebody gets a hold, it's the Gabe L'Shul, let's say, who gets a hold of 3 half-dollar coins when they were still silver, about 40 years ago, when they were still fully silver. And in fact, they had enough silver in them that was probably more than the half shekel coin of the Beis Hamikdash's days, 96 ounces, 9.6 ounces. And that's what we want to give. Now, not everybody has this thing. So the way it's done is the following. A lot of people go over to the plates there that are sitting on the beam and have no idea what's going on. So let me just explain what you're going to see and what people are doing. Basically, the gabbai goes out and he buys, or he has it from year to year, either 1 set or 2 sets of 3 $half. And he tapes them together and he puts it down in one of the plates. Now you want to do the mitzvah with that $half coin, but you don't have, let's say have $20 Canadian or whatever it is. So what you do is you buy it. You buy it from the gabbai of the shul, and then you use it to do your mitzvah. And if you want to, that's the way it's done. You buy it and then you use it to do your mitzvah. Now it does say in the halacha that one should give for one's children, one should give for one's wife. It doesn't say you have to, but it's better, it's nicer. And so one should give on behalf of everyone in their family. So let's say you've got a family of a wife and 3 kids. So you would take the value of $1.50 US, probably a little bit 2 now, and you say, well, 5 kids, it's about $10, or let's say $12. You put down $12 in the plate, and then you buy. Now those $12 are not going to get stuck yet. I am buying from the gabbai that $1.50, and you pick it up, and you have in mind that I am now acquiring it, and then I give it back. Now, if I, let's say, put down $12, so I only used up, so to speak, I still have in the account to buy it again. So I pick it up again, and now I acquired it, and now I can again do the mitzvah matzah sashat for my wife. I pick it up again, and now I'm acquiring, and I gave it back, so now I can acquire it again, and I give it to one child, then another child, then another child. So basically, what you see going on is someone puts down money, and then they pick it up, and put it down. Pick it up, put it down. That's what you see people do. But I don't know if everyone knows what they're doing. This is what you're supposed to be doing. You're acquiring the 3 machzas hashekels, because those are the best coins. The truth is, if you don't have that and you just keep playing cash, the value of what was a machzas hashekel, it's fine also. But to do it in the best manner, that's the way it's done. And we want to do things in the best manner. Why not? Not everyone's going to go out and buy those things. So, I don't know if the banks have enough of them. So one person has it, you put spying off him, and that's the way it's done. So you put down some money, and you're acquiring that machzas hashekel coin, and then you use it for everyone in your family or everyone who you want to do the mitzvah.